Hey, welcome back to the State of Love and Trust. It's episode 294, and this week we welcome to the show singer-songwriter Chris Pierce. You know, Chris has a new album coming out later this year, but he shares a couple of brand new songs with us inside the show. And also, we learn about his perspective, his writing style. We go deep, so deep that we learned what an empathetic bouncer is. And soon you will too, with this week's guest.
Hey, I'm Chris Pierce, and this is the State of Love and Trust.
Welcome to another episode of the State of Love and Trust podcast. I'm one of your two hosts, Jason Kerepesi, and alongside me, as always, is
Paul Ghiglieri. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I got to crack open my beer because I've already drank the first one ahead of this. But I did it in a really amazing glass that you could procure.
Oh boy,
at the pod shop.
What? That is a
shill.
segue shill for the ages right there.
Boom. But seriously, this interview tonight or today, whenever you're listening to this,
I'm a little bit more subtle with my shilling. They just kind of come out of nowhere. So
if you're watching, that's just Paul just chucking stickers this way and that. A great interview is coming your way with Chris Pierce, singer-songwriter.
Hey, we're gonna get deep. New album coming. Like that. We're going to get deep.
Paul is subtle as a thumbtack. And I want to urge you. Do you just fall? What were you doing there?
You're picking up a sticker.
He's doing it mid-show now. He doesn't even wait for this to be over.
I'm not.
If you're watching here on YouTube, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And if listening only, of course.
No, you should rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Feed that algorithm. Go deep. Find the I don't know where I'm going with this. Just
where's he going with this?
I don't know.
Just feed it.
I'm meandering. I was following the arrow. Well, here it is. It's this arrow right there. I was following
and his brain is mirroring what his camera is showing him. Anyway, if you want to support this show, there are links below for the pod shop where you can get the mug, and there's all kinds of other. This is a mug. This is a Pilsner glass, but other stuff that keep us on the air. We appreciate anybody who's bought anything before or Patreon. Always a great crowd over there. Brand new series, by the way. Guiding You Deeper with Stipp, the man who wrote, where is it? This book, I'm No Guide, Pearl Jam Song by Song. So if you like the Pearl Jam, you'll like this book and you'll like the series over on Patreon. But Paul, this week's guest is a gentleman who's been in the game for a long time. And if I can use Pearl Jam as a segue of sorts, who would you say is one of their North Stars from a musical perspective?
Neil Young.
That is correct, sir. Neil Young. And this gentleman was asked to open for Neil a couple of summers ago across this great land. So the bona fides are there, and the music is also there. And not only are we going to talk about the music, the philosophy, the emotion, the man who makes it and how and why he makes it, his perspective, but also you might hear some of that new music that has yet to come out. So without further ado, Paul, it is Chris Pierce. This week's guest has built a career where soul, folk, and social conscience meet. From powerful protest songs to deeply personal storytelling and music featured across film and television, his work connects timeless tradition with the urgency of now. Today, we're talking about craft, purpose, and how the current cultural zeitgeist influenced his upcoming songs for the Heavy-Hearted album. Welcome to the show, Chris Pierce.
Thank you so much. Great to be with you. It's a beautiful night here, a winter night, early spring in LA. I love it. I grew up here, so I love the when it gets a little crisp around here. You know?
Outstanding. Yeah. There's a lot of folks listening who are looking out their window at real crisp. So,
yeah, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about songwriting and what's in that imagination, as you mentioned off camera a moment ago, that gets you there. But before we get granular, we have to mention your upcoming album, Songs for the Heavy-Hearted, that I just mentioned a moment ago. The title evokes and implies many things that we're going to get into, but you've got a pretty interesting campaign set up right now for this album. Why don't you tell us all about it?
Yeah, so I've been can be very harrowing as an independent musician, and some folks get in, folks come out, you get a little buzz, people go away, then they come back, and then so anyway, this has been going on for me for 25, 30 years. And I've found that the best way for me is to put things out independently. And with some support, and the support for this one is going to come from folks that have appreciated and supported my music over the years, that come to shows. And so I've put together this crowd campaign with my team, and it's really it centers around we really let everybody know what the songs are for, what the intent is, what it's about. And then let people decide how they're going to participate and what their pledge is going to be, and what they'd like to what they can do, and then they're a part of it. I think for the lowest pledge, which is $25, you get a digital download, and then for $50, it goes to a vinyl download. And it goes up all the way to a house concert for your 50 best friends in your living room. So
we're going to do a side crowdfunding just to get that in my house.
Yeah,
me and Paul will supply the liquor. Our friends will come over. It'll be great.
There you go. And so it's really exciting, and there is there's something that it's for me. The songs are so people driven, and the songs really lend themselves to hopefully make their way into folks' hearts, and they're really about perspectives. And so to have folks really jump in so far and support that idea, it just feels really special. And I'm just really appreciative of everybody who supported. I had my friend Steve Earle put a PSA out yesterday.
I saw that. The legend.
Yeah, let folks know about it, which was great. And today, my friends up in Oregon, Ship John, great clothing, and they do all kinds of stuff. They do clothing, they do axes, and all kinds of stuff. They put out one, and I have a lot of musician friends that are letting folks know, and so it's really turning into a really good feeling community grassroots effort.
Chris, I have to ask you, when I go to a restaurant and order a bottle of wine, the sommelier will bring it out to me and a little splash in the glass, and swirl it around. Why don't you try it? Make sure it's what you're looking for. Question for you: can we get a splash in the glass?
Ooh.
Yeah. This album is a little bit autobiographical, I'd say.
Okay.
It's about somebody who finds mercy in the morning, that appreciates that wakes up and appreciates the love that surrounds them, gets up, thinks about other people, wants to go out and fight, goes out and fights for the folks that can't fight for themselves, becomes tired, finding a way to balance what it is that means having the purpose of being some kind of freedom fighter, fighting for others, getting tired, getting back up, feeling defeated, finding the light again, using your imagination to do all the things you do. And then at the end of the day, saying to yourself, this was all worth it. And the only thing I want right now is just a soft place to land, to lay my head where I feel loved and feel safe. And I'm going to get up and do it all over again, just as loud, if not louder.
You know what that sounds like to me, Chris?
Songs for the heavy heart?
Yes. Oh, yes. I was going to say the American dream as what it should be, but I'll take Songs for the Heavy Hearted. Do you have a song that you'd like to maybe strum for us right now? Is that possible?
Yeah. I would love to, and I apologize if that's what you were asking for. If you were asking for a
No,
song,
no.
but
The splash is just like a little taste of what you can expect. And sometimes first of all, the description you gave was stunning, and it makes for quite a provocative intro to this record. So I'm just excited to hear that record from start to finish, just based on the way you described it. But if you're willing to pour me a glass now that I've had the splash, I shall not say no.
got it. Well, this is Madonna of the San Joaquin. She's running right now, aching in her bones, with a plastic bag holding everything she owns, running through the night, you the desert breeze, running through the dust and the almond trees. She's a gal been scrubbing your floor, picking your fruit till her arms are sore, but now you kick her out your big front door. You sent the sheriff and the marshal and the deputy, so she's running through the night, just trying to stay free. She's just trying to stay free. Ain't nowhere she can rest her head. The rocks in a ditch gon' be her bed. Running through the night in the onion fields, running from the folks with the guns and shields. She's a gal been scrubbing your floor, picking your fruit till her arms are sore, but now you kick her out your big front door. You sent the sheriff and the marshal and the deputy, so she's running through the night, just trying to stay free. She's just trying to stay free. But she ain't just running from the deputy, she ain't just running from the ICE. She's running cause people like you and me didn't lift a hand to keep her free. And I heard she met Jesus on the road last night, asked where to rest till the morning light. Jesus said to her, I wish I knew they kicked me out too. She's a gal been scrubbing your floor, picking your fruit till her arms are sore, but now you kick her out your big front door. You sent the sheriff and the marshal and the deputy, so she's running through the night, just trying to stay free. She's just trying to stay free. And if you see her tonight, don't say a word about where she's going or what you've heard, cause you've just seen Madonna of the San Joaquin. Madonna of the San Joaquin. She's a gal been scrubbing your floor, picking your fruit till her arms are sore, but now you kick her out your big front door. And if you see her tonight, don't say a word about where she's going or what you've heard, cause you've just seen Madonna of the San Joaquin. Madonna of the San Joaquin. Madonna of the San Joaquin.
Whoa.
I am without words,
Ooh.
and I think that's the sign of a powerful song, Chris. What a beautiful song that really it speaks. It says a lot. It says a lot, and grateful that you not only wrote it, but that you were willing to share it with us tonight.
Thank you. And I wrote that with my dear friend Mark Malone, I should say. He lives in Vancouver on a boat, and we've been getting together for years to write. So this was something really, really special for us to write together, because it's not only about, it's about freedom for the migrant and the displaced and the immigrant, the asylum seeker, the folks that come here with a dream and do a do a lot of the jobs that a lot of other folks don't want to do, and so we wanted to write kind of a song of protection, um, of kind of a prayer for protection.
Prayer is a great word,
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah.
Your songs, like this one, often feel emotionally very honest, but also socially purposeful. When you're writing, are you trying to tell the truth as you feel it, or the truth you think people need to hear?
Oh, well, I mean, I think I don't know how I answer that. I think that what I try to do is offer a perspective. And it's kind of like I look at it as like a door to a home, and I try to invite people in. And then you say, okay, this is, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but check this out. This was my great grandfather's, and he brought it back from here. And, it's kind of like letting people into your world and your mind and how you're in your heart and, and how you're feeling about things. That's kind of how I look at it. So in that sense, I'd say, no, I'm definitely not trying to write about what I think people want to hear. Sometimes I write about what I think folks should hear or need to hear,
Mm.
A perspective that they may not know that they might need to hear. 'Cause I feel like fear takes such a play in so much of what goes on these days, of so much
Yeah.
conflict. And so a lot of what I try to do through song is to try to disarm in a way, and have folks from going like this to being calmer when they approach people and approach situations that aren't familiar to them, and people that aren't familiar to them. And I think that at the end of the day, to make a long answer longer, I think I just try to write with the empathetic pen,
To that point, Chris, let's talk a little bit more about the songs on this record, Songs for the Heavy-Hearted. I believe it's pretty obvious that a lot of us feel heavy-hearted these days. And the song you just shared with us speaks to that. I think it personified what that feels like, and their perspective that perhaps more should adopt when considering that. Do you think that these songs, the ones on this record, do you view these songs as refuge, as resistance, or both?
Well, I guess the resistance in a way that if for the folks that would be resisting some of these ideas, I think it's refuge for the folks that are walking with empathetic hearts and are trying to fight for the folks that can't fight for themselves, and are also trying to figure out, what can I do? A lot of times a song can just open up the floodgates of emotion to lead people to action. And so I think with some of these songs, it's not only possibly something that you haven't thought about today, that maybe will help you help lead you to action. Like I have a song called "First Day of School," and it's about, it's a woman saying, don't let them kill my child, over and over and over again, until God and man are reconciled. Don't let them kill my child. And it's about this woman who wakes up and she's putting her child on a bus to go to school. And this is what she's saying to herself. And so I do think there's a lot of parents out there that can relate to that. I think there's a lot of people that aren't parents and that maybe or that maybe are, but have the privilege of not having to worry about that. I don't know what parents do these days, have that privilege, but I think these songs offer a way into some kind of, the kind of thinking of, wow, there's folks that are really going through this, and the folks that are really going through it, I think it's a way. It is definitely a place of refuge. Saying, man, there's other people out there that are listening to this. There's a songwriter that gets it. And it kind of is creating an experience where I don't feel as alone in feeling what I'm feeling.
It's funny you mentioned parenthood. I've said this to Jason before, and as somebody dear to me one time told me that there's only two types of people in the world: right? It doesn't matter if you're white, black, gay, straight, none of that. There's two types of people in the world. There's people with kids and there's people without kids. And that completely changes your worldview more than any other thing that could possibly happen to you. I'm not saying this. This is dogma or anything like that. It was an interesting perspective. So
yeah. And my wife and I don't have kids, but I'm a godfather 6 times over again, and I've been a teacher, and my mother was a teacher, and I work with kids. I just worked with kids a couple weeks ago. I work with kids all the time in all kinds of different situations, and I mean the children are the ones that need the most protecting of anybody. So I can feel that, and so that's what prompted that song.
What's your favorite part about working with kids?
I think that their honesty, really.
To a fault sometimes, am I wrong?
Yeah.
Oh my God, these kids.
Yeah, they're so funny when they're honest. It gets you right straight, and right from the heart, right from the hip, It's just like, this is how I feel about it. This is how I see it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no
Chris, how much do you color your songwriting and your lyrical writing with the idea of the kids are watching? The kids will grow up and find this at some point. I've got to write something responsibly for them because they're next, and we have to leave them. If we can't leave them like a correct textbook, thanks certain boards of education, at least we can leave them some truth in art. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you'd say that, because I was doing a show last weekend in Pasadena, where I was born and raised, and there was a kid that came up to me, probably 18, 19 or something like that, and he was there alone, and I said, "What brought you to the show?" And he said, "My dad was a big fan of yours." And I went, "Wow!" And I said, "Did you listen to my records?" He's like, "Yeah. I have this old CD player, and I listen to some of your old stuff." And I said, "Wow." And so, that's interesting that I've kind of at that age where folks are starting to, I'm starting to recognize that there's generations that have heard my music. And with that said, I've always looked at it as kind of like leaving kind of a print of historical evidence of your heart. And we've been using the word perspective a lot already. And it's just like, that's it to me. It's like, this is what this guy thought. This is what he was prompted to put out there and what felt urgent to him. And all of my music is a culmination of all these different things that I've experienced and all this life I've lived. And there's just so much there. I'm sure we'll get into some of it, but it's just, there's so much there when I think about it. And, at 52 now, I've definitely, have some stories to tell. And so that urgency and the perspective, it just accumulates and builds and builds and builds every night when I go to sleep, every day when I'm awake. And I just try to get out as much as I can while I'm still here.
Does it keep you awake ever?
Oh yeah. All the time. It not only keeps me awake, but when I try to go back to sleep, sometimes I panic and I go, I have to get up and write this or else it's going to go away. It's not going to be there. Yeah.
It's funny. You mentioned perspective and urgency. Somebody once said failure is all about perspective. That somebody was you. Yeah. You said failure is all about perspective.
Yeah.
What might seem like failure may not be failure at all. It may simply be the right hurdle in your life that forces you to dig deeper and truly discover your ultimate superpower.
Yeah.
We talk about having a growth mindset a lot on this show.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, what failure have you learned from as a songwriter, from a craftsmanship point of view? And what have you learned on a personal level in this way?
Well, I think if I'm correct, that the quote you're referring was probably something where I was talking about losing my hearing. Is that right? Was that?
You tell me, Chris. You said it.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. On a personal level, when I was 15, I started not being able to hear too well, and then eventually I couldn't hear at all, and I went deaf. completely deaf, and I was diagnosed with otosclerosis, which is a deformation of the stapes bones. And so, my soul was crushed in crisis, and I just really didn't know what to do. I was already wanted to be a musician. I knew music was in my heart. Like I said, it spoke to me from the divine, through the divine. This is what you should be doing. And so, through the support of family and the community, I was able to have a surgery on my right ear called a stapedectomy. And they basically take out your stapes bone and replace it with a little prosthetic bone. And then they hope that the little hairs start moving again and that you're able to start hearing. Well, with mine, I ended up getting about half of my hearing back in my right ear. And then I started chugging along and kind of taught my brain how to hear with the half of an ear. I ended up auditioning and getting a scholarship to go to USC to study music. And then I started playing clubs right away. And then, fast forward, after all this touring and records and all this, about 8 years ago, I decided maybe it's time to have this ear checked out.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been kind of working with a half of an ear for so long. I didn't know what it was going to be, if it was just going to trip me out. And so I ended up having that surgery, but it didn't work out. I got my hearing back for a day, but it was so intense.
What a tease.
Yeah. It was so intense. It was so intense. It was just too much. And maybe my heart and my brain got together and said, you've been doing it for this long and you're all right. But yeah, I think that ended up being a superpower, because with half of a hearing in one ear, I lean in more in conversation. I use my imagination more, especially when folks are talking sometimes in a crowded room. And
That's so interesting, though. You lean in, and it makes the person you're talking to feel like, hey, this man's invested. That he wants to hear what I'm saying. Like he's present in this conversation.
Yeah.
That's obviously, that's physically not the reason you're doing it, and yet that is a superpower, because it makes me feel disarmed. It makes me feel more open to share. Makes me feel more open to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It is a superpower. Well, it's so interesting you bring that up.
Yeah, and I think there's something there, because I really want to hear what people are saying, and so I really do. It's coming from a deep place. Like when I'm leaning in, it's like I really want to be a part of this conversation. And so that really makes me, listen closer, and I really hear folks, and I take things in, and I, in a different way. And it also, when I'm singing, I'm always singing from a place and playing from a place that, I don't hear how anybody's ever hearing it. And so it makes me dig deeper in emotion and that kind of thing. So that's definitely ended up being a kind of a superpower. But back to songwriting, the other part of the question, I didn't really start really digging in and writing about super personal stuff until pretty recently. I'd say like 2018, 19, I kind of dug in and started talking about some really personal experiences. And then when the pandemic hit, that space opened up where I really could just sit down with myself and go, I think I'm ready to talk about some of this stuff, and maybe maybe this can help other people. And it wasn't that I wasn't writing deep stuff before. I was doing, I was writing songs like All That Matters Is Now and The Miracle Is Not Walking on the Water, The Miracle Is Walking on the Earth. But I'd say it was more general. I started really digging into some specific things that really were had been pulling at my heart for a long time as of late. And I think that's a lesson I've learned, because those songs have really resonated in a deep way. And I think just making myself more vulnerable and available that way, I think that it's really resonating with folks.
That's a superpower, Chris.
Yeah.
When people, I swear to God, and I know there's a contingent in this country that views vulnerability as a weakness, and I will tell you they are absolutely wrong, because it allows for this to happen, which is connection. you make yourself available to somebody else, they go, oh, it's and I've said this before on the show, but it's almost like if you just posted everything to Instagram and not just the happy moments, people go, oh shit, you're dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with. This is, I got to talk to you more. This is wild. Like, and you get that from the music.
Yes. It's interesting you say that because I worked as a bouncer at an Irish pub in the late '90s in Hollywood, and
which bar?
It was called Dublin's.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is probably way before your time. You're younger than me, I know.
I wasn't here yet. I came here later.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, eventually I got let go for being too empathetic. You know, it was I have
20. That's fine.
The empathetic bouncer. It sounds like a novel.
Yeah, that's an SNL sketch.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do think that that a lot of folks look at it as a weakness, and that's I don't know. I think that's kind of generational in a way, and a lot of men in different cultures, especially, kind of look at that as a weakness. And I think that, understandably, thinking about folks that in my own family, I think about a lot of folks that have to have their guard up and felt like they had to have their guard up a lot. Like, you know, I think about my father and all the stuff he was going through and went through, and civil rights, and I think about my family that was brought here, you know, slave ships, and you know, those are folks that had to have their guards up and had to, you know, sleep with one eye open. So I get that, and I think that I'm in a generation where I think I have the privilege to open up some of that emotion that my father couldn't or didn't feel like he could, and I hope I can pass that on, and that. I don't know if there's that permission on, you know, to other folks, you know, than other folks that look like me, and say, hey, you know, you can do it too. It's all right. It's just going to make you stronger and bring more folks into your life and give more perspective and put more out there and leave more behind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and it's sharing your full self, you know. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Chris, I was watching your concert from last year at the Kennedy Center, and it struck me because there was a Rolling Stone article a year ago, basically this week, that talked about artists who were canceling their gigs because Trump was in the White House and he's firing the whole board. You committed to playing your scheduled gig. Yeah. And you said it was both like a form of resistance, but also out of respect for the venue and the history of the venue. And you dedicated the performance to the Trevor Project, who deals advocating for LGBTQ plus folks, and the United Farm Workers Association, which greatly benefits immigrants. Well, here we are a year later, and Trump has added his name to the venue. We've had 9 months of ICE, as you've spelled out in Madonna of San Joaquin, ICE ravaging our communities and just disappearing people. Are you still comfortable having done that performance? And what would you do now if you're asked, like today, to do it this year?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with having done it because it was still the standing institution was still how it had been. It hadn't changed over yet. And I wanted to go, even though it was just about to, as a form of resistance. And, you know, I come from a family of a very, biracial family. I mean, we had a cross burned on our front lawn when I was a kid.
Oh gosh!
And in Pasadena, you know, my parents were the first interracial couple that moved into the neighborhood, and they didn't stand down and run away, and they didn't do any of that. But what they did was they kept trying to put perspective and love out there. They had barbecues right in the front lawn where that cross was burning, and invited all kinds of different people over, and demonstrated that not only were they there to stay, but their hearts were open to letting other people in. And so I felt like at that time, although, and it's, you know, I was just actually talking to one of the artists a couple weeks ago who did cancel, whose name I won't mention just out of respect.
Yeah, of course,
But
of course.
Sure.
but yeah, we were talking about that it's important there are different forms of resistance, and there's different forms of protest, and what I felt at the time is very valid, I think, and what she thought to do at the time, which was cancel, I think is very valid as well. I did a 12-song protest song and a protest set, and I don't take it back. I got a standing ovation, and then I hightailed out of there. Yeah, and I feel like I said what I needed to say. Which is I'm here to say that this is what these kinds of ideas and songs and freedom of speech and expression is what this place has always been about, and I want to be one of the last demonstrators of that before this change is over, and just remind folks who might forget that this is what this great institution once was. Two, I'm not afraid of you. And I'm not afraid to lift my voice ever. And I'm not going to be afraid tomorrow or next year or the year after that. And so you can say, listen, I'll be at your house in a month. You better stop singing those songs, and I'm still going to sing them. I'm going to sing them today, tomorrow, up to the month, and up till you're knocking my door down. And that's kind of what I feel what I was attempting to say by doing that set. And by not
you were saying it without saying it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and supporting the organizations that I felt also said something. I thought was important as well. Yeah.
Chris, Josh Evans, a producer who produced Pearl Jam's album Gigaton, he told us when we had him on about the band's desire to weigh music with the lack thereof, referencing like an old Thelonious Monk quote about how sometimes the most important notes are the ones played in your head.
That's right.
So I'm paraphrasing here. You strike this balance exceptionally well in your music. So how consciously do you think of that balance between what you want to say and the things that you want played in your head and leaving the space in between?
I try not to censor myself when I write. I think that sometimes during the editing process, I will edit some things out that I feel may take the point. May take away from the point, like Madonna of the San Joaquin, for instance. That song I think had 2 or 3 more verses to it, and it was just like, okay, let's figure out how to edit this down and say it, and kind of condense these thoughts so they're really cohesive. And so I do that sometimes, but I don't ever edit what the intent is. If I go in with an intent, I'm there, man. I'm gonna go until I feel like I've achieved it, until I feel like if somebody else is listening to this, they're at least gonna hopefully be able to feel and hear the intent of what I was trying to say. Yeah, and that's I think comes with age and with some of us, and you have to kind of get to the place where you're okay with that and okay with just leaving things to the truest of where the intent was, and not going back. And also, I'm not with any kind of big corporation or anything, so I don't have to think. I'm an independent artist. I don't have to think of what are the guys of the folks up here going to think.
The big brass.
Yeah. And so, at the end of the day, I have folks that are supporting this campaign for this album, and they're doing it, I think, because they know that I come from a pure place, and my heart is I have a huge heart, and I put it on the line, and I do it for the love of it, and for the urgency of it.
And that comes through.
I want to read a couple of lyrics here and get your take on this. Ain't no drill, it's time. Sound all the bells. Shame it, face it, damn it to hell. You wrote those lyrics 5-6 years ago.
Mm.
When you play that song now, what do you feel? Because I listened to that song today and I was like, this is like now.
I'm glad that you felt that way. That song to me is so personal. I wrote it, and there's these like vignettes of these different things. I mean, that song had probably 15 verses when I first started. They were all, I wrote it about, the cross being burned on the front lawn. I wrote about the time, I think that, I don't know if I say this in it, but the time I was shot and the time I was stabbed and the time I was beaten up, I believe.
Jeez, man.
You mentioned bullets going by your back. In the house.
Yeah. And I think I probably poetically said it, but, and I feel like those are the things I think about when I hear that song. And I every time I hear it, I'm proud of myself for writing it, because it was one of those songs that took a while to get to a place where I felt like talking about that stuff. And it was just a big therapeutic exercise for me to not only write it, but every time I get to play it. And then hearing stories from folks, different folks, that have had all kinds of different experiences of intolerance in their lives. Not just folks that look like me, different orientations, religions. And so it brings up a lot, I think, for different people. And to me, that's the important thing. So, but I think about racism, and I think about the fact that there's fear, and I think there's so much that's happening that's just fear driven, that we need to sound all the bells, and we need to just do everything we can to move on from it.
Chris, there's a Megadeth album called Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? The inverse of that is fear sells and everyone's buying. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or in this day and age, rage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to ask you, when you describe your music, you describe it with this intent and purpose, and there's such clarity, and it's driven. And we had Zach Person on recently.
Oh,
he said sometimes
he's great.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He said sometimes fans will come up and tell him how they perceive a song, and how it ends up completely changing the meaning for him as well, and perhaps like adds another layer of depth that he didn't see was there, or because perhaps, I mean, this is my inference from it. The song becomes an organic thing in and of itself. And therefore, wants to realize its own ambitions. And as the artist, when you hear what it means to other people, suddenly those meanings and those layers become part of the fabric of this new organic living thing that you brought into the world. So I have to ask, like, has that ever happened to you where you wrote a song and maybe you had this message and you had this intent and this purpose? When you hear the way other people describe to you what it means to them, you suddenly think to yourself, man, like that hits differently than I intended it to. And I kind of dig that.
Yeah, man. I mean, all the time. I mean, you see green, I see blue, she sees fuchsia, and it's like, I not only hear that, what you describe, but I also, I try to always encourage, civil discourse, and I'm like, listen, if you want to come talk to me after the set, I'll be selling records, and come talk to me. I'll be at the booth for a while, and if any of these songs struck something in you, I'd love to hear your perspective. And I hear all kinds of perspectives. When I was opening for Neil Young's tour, I'd say that on stage, in front of thousands of people. And these were a lot of folks that had never heard of me. And I was singing some pretty provocative stuff. And I had these incredible conversations that sometimes started with people's guards up and then moved into different things and ended up in a big hug, but
man, it was your willingness to have it and the invitation that you extended that allowed that to happen.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it. And Neil fans are the coolest, the coolest, but yeah, I do find that, and I, over the years, I've been just really always struck. I get letters from folks from overseas. I get letters from folks that are incarcerated. I get letters from folks that say that they were contemplating, taking their own lives, and that the songs helped them see a perspective and gave them light. And getting that kind of outreach, I mean, it makes my voice shake even talking about it, just because it gets me so emotional just to think that something that comes from inside of me could have that much of a profound effect on somebody else. And that's, to me, what it's all about. And sometimes when I don't mean for a song to even, I don't think that a song is even going to strike that deep. When it does, it's just like, wow, it's amazing. And sometimes I think that maybe it doesn't have as much to do with the lyrics. Sometimes maybe it has to do with the emotion in my voice. Maybe it has to do with the music that's brought them back to a place or reminds them of something and a place and time. But I've had songs that folks have played at the birth of their children and their marriages, and I mean, it's just incredible. It really is, and I love the fact that songs mean different things to different people. I love the fact that I'm able to put stuff out there from a perspective, and then have them just go, whew, and then all these other perspectives, get to be a part of it, and all these different hearts get to analyze it, with.
Why can't we talk to each other that way?
Right.
Do you think it's music that allows that to happen? Like, why can't? I mean, because you walked into a bar, or you just got up, at a restaurant and went over some people talking and started engaging in conversation. Like, do you think you'd have the same effect, or does music allow that vulnerability to rise to the surface?
Well, I can say, I see the best. My mother is an optimist, and that's kind of how I was raised by her. And so I try to see the best in people. But I've also know that when I walk up to a table, there's a way different vibe than when I walk up to a table with a guitar singing. And I think the music disarms. It really does. It disarms people. It makes people lay their burden down and their weapons down and their guards down. Yeah.
I was gonna say the word disarm because it's like a gateway drug. It's sugar for the medicine, right?
Yeah, it is.
As you're talking about you're talking about truths that you think people should hear, or perspectives that you think people haven't heard. Because listen, we live in an algorithmic age now. I could be siloed for weeks upon weeks upon months where I don't see a Chris Pierce perspective because the algorithm says, well, you're watching this thing, right? And all of a sudden, you cut through and like, oh my God, I did not realize that was there.
Yeah.
And the music is the way to force feed is the wrong word, but it came to my mind for some reason. But like, that's the thing that allows the conversation to happen. That's the bridge.
Yeah, and that's why I'll tour live as long as I can, as long as I'm able. Because there's you create your own algorithm. It's like, this is where I'm going to be. Come on down, and you're going to feel something. Because you've chosen to be there. No, nobody else. It's your choice. You're there because you want to open your heart to the music, and you're going to take something away from it that's unique. And the other thing about live shows is that group of people that group of hearts will never be together in the exact same way. And so it's a completely unique experience, and I think folks feel that. I know I do.
That's why I love shows. That's why I go to as many as I can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Chris, what about songwriting still evades you, or is mysterious to you? What are you still chasing as a musician after all these years?
That's a good question. I think, technically, I think voicings. Picking up different instruments and learning more and trying different voicings. I think there's part of my voice that I haven't discovered yet. That I'm reaching for. I also would love to reach start reaching in different languages. Like I think,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I find Portuguese in particular. I find very just intriguing and beautiful. And I always loved those old Antonio Carlos Jobim records, and I just think it's such a beautiful language, and Spanish too. So I think that maybe there's a world where I just try to do a record in Spanish or Portuguese at one point and see what happens.
Do you know any of those two languages at all?
A little bit. I mean,
please say no. All right.
I mean, Spanish.
Un poquito?
I mean, yeah, un poquito, but I grew up in LA, so
I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful, beautiful language, and also, I think that just different cultural sounds, like going and being in Hawaii when I'm there, I hear all the sounds, and I think, oh man, some of these singers, they sing like in a way that is so beautiful, all the falsetto and the all that stuff. It's like, oh,
he's got it.
I want to do some music like that, and so I honestly, I think the answer is there's so much that I feel like I still need to discover and want to, and I'm just gonna take it song by song,
Have you been to Lisbon before?
Been where?
Lisbon.
Oh, no, I haven't. No.
Oh my God, what a city. And there were some people busking in Portuguese, and I was just like, I'll grab my coffee because I'm jet lagged and some jamon, and I will just sit here and watch you.
Just watch it.
In this beautiful city.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, man. Like what you're both talking about here is just this idea of like, it's coming from a place of curiosity, but notice what you're curious about things that are different.
Yeah.
You're curious about things that are strange and unique and
Yeah.
things that are even foreign.
That's right.
And it's when you come from that place of curiosity, it opens up a whole new world and a place of desire and intent and purpose and a want to create and to build.
Yes.
As opposed to looking at it through the lens of fear.
Yeah.
And seeing different as other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Sure. Like a chef that will only cook with certain ingredients. Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
What are you saying about my child that only eats Dino Nuggets? What are you saying about him?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Dino Nuggets forever.
Oh, wow. Nuggets forever. The Nuggets forever. Sure.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I mean,
just sauce me up. I'll be good to go.
I mean,
Son, it is a nugget. It's breaded. It's just called jamon. Come here.
Jamon.
I like to mix the spicy mustard
So
with
good.
the barbecue.
There you go.
Can I tell you real quick? We were at a
Not the
wedding,
style.
a friend's wedding, and it was in, I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Ibiza. And the drinks portion of the program after the ceremony, before like the actual party, there's like that the cocktail hour.
Uh-huh.
And usually there's like people walking around with like trays of little finger foods, all like half a dozen different kinds. No. There was literally a table with one guy with a leg just slicing off little slivers. And wouldn't you believe it? Me and the missus were just sitting there, like Homer Simpson with the donut machine.
Oh man,
incredible!
That's great.
Go to Lisbon is what I'm trying to say. That was in Ibiza, but same thing. They have the jamon as well. What are we saying here? Chris, how about would you do another song?
I'd love
Can we book in the day with music? Is that possible?
Yeah.
How cool is this? You got to bookend this now.
Yeah, for sure. I'll play.
What are we thinking?
I'll play the last song on the record. As a song called "A Soft Place to Land." I was kind of describing it earlier.
Sounds like something an empathetic bouncer would write.
Yeah, exactly. That's gonna be the name of my next record. Or here's the name of my band, Chris Pierce and the Empathetic Bouncers.
Love it.
This is A Soft Place to Land. This world can be cold. This world can be so hard. Then you come along and ease the pain in my heart. Sometimes at the end of the night, I come home a broken man. What I wouldn't give for a soft place to land. Something in your touch, it's got that magic all in your hands. I could feel the power of your voice. Darling, heal me again. Sometimes at the end of the night, I come home a broken man. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a soft place to land. Sirens on the corner, helicopters in the air, gunshots at the border, there's violence everywhere. A soft place to land, where the world will go away. A soft place to land, this is where I want to stay all day. Sometimes at the end of the night, I come home a broken man. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a soft place to land. What I wouldn't give for a soft place, a soft place to land.
Yes, sir. That's how you do it.
Beautiful.
All right.
Chris, I'm super grateful that you came on our show to talk and to play. And I'm also very upset now that I have to wait until July or August to get these songs in my hand.
Well, that I I mean, since we're now, we've done this, you might get an advance copy to check out.
Oh my goodness! Hold on, Paul.
I could see that.
I wasn't fishing, but I won't say no to a nice man.
Just like some of the folks that contribute to this campaign, they're going to get advance copies. By the way,
that's true.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
This is a full band record, correct? They're not.
It is. I've got.
You mentioned Steve Earle.
Yes, Steve Earle is on it. He does some incredible vocals and mandolin. I've got Allison Russell came and sang a song with me called Khalif Browder, about Khalif Browder, and Garrison Starr, Gray Delisle, and then the band is. Oh boy, Doug Pettibone on guitars, Phil Parr piano on keys and accordion, Dave Palmer on grand piano, Gabe Witcher on fiddle, Stella Mozgawa on drums, Reggie Hamilton on bass, and then I've got Dave Resnick and Nico Bolas who are producing, and they also produced the Neil Young tribute record I was on last year. That
you did Southern Man.
Yeah, I did Southern Man. Yeah, and Nico's Neil's longtime guy as well, Neil Young. So it's a really just a beautiful representation of exactly what happened in the studio. Kind of like a live in studio record done at Sunset Sound Studio One. Ooh. Most of what you hear are the first takes. We did 2 for some of them, and maybe for a couple of them we picked the second take, but there's no fixes and stuff like that. It's very raw and honest, and
proper.
I'm just proud
old school recording,
coming in there and giving their whole hearts, and you can
raw and honest. Chris, sounds like you put childhood into a music studio.
Hey, there it is. There it is. And hey, it was a pleasure being here and talking to you all too. And I hope we could do it again sometime. If not online,
we'd love to
in
have
person,
Absolutely. We'd love it.
All right.
So songs for the heavy-hearted coming out in this summer, but stay tuned to Chris's socials for sneak peeks and much more, and get on that Indiegogo to support the man so you can get your home concert. Honestly, just let's pull together and get your home concert.
Yes, yeah.
Do a block party for Christ's sake.
Hey, block party would be amazing. Yeah, block party. I mean,
I'll bring the meat for the smoker.
Yeah,
we'll get a cake. I mean, lemonade, whatever you want.
Yeah, trust me. On my block, everybody's involved in everything. It's really hard to move because everybody's just so cool. We have a neighborhood text chain. There can't be anything that happens. You're going to hear it. You know,
those neighborhood group chats are something else.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Chris Pierce, you are
that damn fence. I swear.
Oh my God.
Did somebody lose a red sock on the street? Yeah. Everything.
Can I borrow some sugar? That's happened many times. Anyways, I'm so stoked that you came on to talk to us, like I said. And everybody, it's Chris Pierce.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Once again, thank you to Chris for taking the time to talk with us about his journey, his craft, the music, the emotion, and everything in between that makes him who he is, and his fabulous wall of guitars.
Yeah, like I just really enjoyed the conversation. The empathetic bouncer, who would have thought, huh? I'll tell you, it's the man writes with such passion and authenticity, and there's a lot of power behind this music. And I have to say, I mean, you listen to this conversation. The hope here was that whether the music resonates with you or not, the person should. And if the person does, then eventually the music will too, because you will have difficulty separating the two.
That's true.
Anyway, really enjoyed this conversation, and very grateful to Mr. Pierce for sharing those two beautiful compositions, and could not be more excited to hear the rest of the record in the coming months. So,
and if you are interested in supporting Chris, like we said before and during the interview, Indiegogo to support that release. There's a link below, and we're very excited about that. So if you like what you heard, go support the man. And we appreciate you being here and supporting this channel and this show. Links below for us as well. Other than that, I got nothing else to say, which is astounding by my history. That I can be held wordless by any means. With that said, if you're watching here on YouTube, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and if listening only, Paul,
rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform of choice. I know the algorithm gets a bad name, but you should feed this one, okay? Because this one brings a lot more of this to you. So please feed it, because we need it.
Isn't that a Bon Jovi song? You give the algorithm a bad name. You die. Anyway, we almost made it without it going off the rails. And then I said, you know what?
We're going to start air guitaring Bon Jovi.
We got plenty more great episodes to come, I assure you. Again, I love quoting Clerks. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go rent it. What are you doing? How do you not know what Clerks is?
Did you go rent it?
Go rent it.
You're like that clip that's going viral of that person who took like a home video of the last year Blockbuster videos or owned. It's just these kids wandering around, adults pulling cassettes off the shelves.
Now hold on. I was ready to end this show. And here you are, besmirching the name of rentals. I will tell you that I said rental, and you immediately went to the physical store. My mind went to like the Apple or Amazon online store where you can click the button and rent.
Hide behind the stream, won't you?
Okay. God bless it. Son of a basketball. Cheese and rice. Anyways, enough fake swearing for one episode. Next week, we'll see you again. And until then, you've been listening to or watching
The State of Love and Trust.